Good evening. Striking new evidence has come to light that the Church of England knew that a paedophile priest had a conviction for child abuse, but still went on to ordain him.
Roy Cotton was recommended to the then Archbishop of Canterbury, Michael Ramsey, in 1966. Cotton later abused a number of boys in Eastbourne in the 1970s and 80s. Our Home Affairs correspondent, Colin Campbell, reports.
Roy Cotton was ordained with a conviction for sexual assault of a choir boy in 1966. The permission to become a priest came from the top. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Michael Ramsey, now deceased.
It is shocking. It's very shocking. I've suspected for a long time that the decisions went high, but I didn't expect that they went this high. And I'm not surprised the Church has tried to hide this for such a long time.
The details exposed in a previously unpublished report held by the Church about Cotton's past. In 1966, the Bishop of Portsmouth wrote to the Archbishop of Canterbury asking for guidance on whether to ordain Roy Cotton with a conviction. The bishop described Cotton as a man of considerable ability and said he'd been free of any trouble for 12 years. The Archbishop's secretary responded, saying the Archbishop is reassured by what you have said and thinks you would do right to consider ordaining him to a title in the carefully selected parish which you mention.
This went to the top, didn't it? The Archbishop of Canterbury knew about Roy Cotton's conviction, yet he was still allowed into the church.
Well, whether the Archbishop of Canterbury knew or not, I don't know. What I can say is that, as I've already said, that it was a mistake that somebody with a sexual offence relating to anybody, for that matter, should be ordained.
Yesterday we revealed severe criticism of the Church and Sussex Police in a report by Baroness Butler-Sloss. It highlighted significant failings surrounding the cases of Roy Cotton and Colin Pritchard. There was no mention decisions had been taken at the highest level.
The most important thing the Church needs to do is just make sure this doesn't happen again, so that the systems are in place that identify people like Cotton straight away and are reported to the police immediately.
After being convicted in 1954, Cotton went on to teach at 2 boarding schools. It appears boys at both made unsubstantiated allegations against him. Despite this, he was still ordained.
I think it's up to the Church now to recognise their responsibility, their fault. And it may well be that the current Archbishop of Canterbury could take it upon himself to apologise personally to the children who've been hurt as a result.
As a priest, Cotton abused at least 10 children. The decision to ordain him was taken over 40 years ago. Learning that it went to the highest level has added further pain to victims' suffering.
Colin Campbell reporting there. He joins us live from Canterbury Cathedral now. Colin, I understand that the victims are in shock at the fact that the Archbishop of Canterbury knew about Roy Cotton.
That's right, Rob. This afternoon I got in contact with one of Roy Cotton's victims and I informed him that his abuser had been given permission to be ordained back in 1966 by the then Archbishop of Canterbury, Michael Ramsey. Now, when I gave him this bit of information, he was temporarily speechless, just for a few seconds, but he then went on to say that he was very shocked and very upset to learn that it was the Archbishop of Canterbury who gave Roy Cotton that bit of information. Now, I think the reason why victims are upset is because the Church has known this information for a number of years and victims consider it to be a crucial part of the jigsaw puzzle.
And this, the latest report that you've obtained, the Meekings report, seems to simply reveal that too much trust was put in Roy Cotton.
That appears to be the case. It suggested that Roy Cotton had convinced bishops that his conviction was the result of a false allegation. Now, the Bishop of Portsmouth told the Bishop of Chichester that he believed Roy Cotton was more sinned against than sinner. And I think that it's this misplaced trust that has resulted in Roy Cotton bypassing some very serious safeguarding procedures.
OK, Colin, thank you.
Well, there is more information on this on our website. That is bbc.co.uk/Sussex, where you will also find a link to a charity that helps victims of childhood sexual abuse.